Welcome to Irish Football Weekly here on The Grueling Truth. I'm one of the hosts, Josh Benjamin, here with my co-host Tony Hunter, as a former tight end for the Irish from 79 to 82. He was also drafted in the first round, 12th overall by the Buffalo Bills. And you can find us on our website, thegruelingtruth.net. You can find us multiple areas besides our website: Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, Google Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, just to name a few. We're going to jump right in here. Tony, my main man, what is going on in Cincinnati today?
Well, outside of the fact that it feels like it's about 98 or 100 degrees, everything, it is warm outside today.
Man, you don't need to put on your sweat outfit to go out there and get a workout in. You can just walk outside, right?
Oh, definitely. I usually have a park walk. I usually go on a park walk every day, every other day or so. But man, oh man, it's not. I don't normally sweat the way I was sweating today when I did it. But
yeah,
it's all good though. I love the summer. I'll take summer. I tell you, I spent a couple of years in Buffalo, and when you go through a winter where it's raining or snowing 5-6 days a week throughout the winter, then you can appreciate some warm weather, and you just find a way to deal with it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like something I want to be a part of, but that sounds kind of brutal to me. But
it's unbelievable. And then later on I found out, I thought Buffalo was a snow belt, and it actually is. But one time I hit a snowstorm coming out of Buffalo. We figured, my brother was with me, and it was the last game of the season. We figured the further we get away from Buffalo in this storm, the better off we are. But we happened to go through Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was twice as bad in Erie, Pennsylvania. The snow was coming down, twice as bad as it was in Buffalo. I found out later that if it's snowing in Buffalo, it's snowing worse in Erie. So,
wow, that sounds not like any good time I want to be a part of. So I'm glad everything worked out.
Yeah, it did. Eventually, it worked out. We ended up getting blown off the highway in a snow-covered highway at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we had to walk to the toll booth. And after we got pulled out of the snow drift, we started going again, and we ended up hitting a pack of deers. I just kind of swiped a pack of deers, and man, oh man, by the time we got home that next day, about 15 hours later, we said we decided to just take it easy and do nothing for a few days.
Well, trying to jump ship here a little bit. Before we get into our Irish talk here, I do want to throw out our thoughts, prayers, and condolences for anyone affected by Hurricane Florence.
Yes.
Hopefully everything's going well down there. My brother's actually a lineman for Duke Energy, and he's down there right now, so helping out. So thoughts, prayers, and condolences go to everyone that's affected by them. So by that treacherous storm.
Most definitely.
Well, Tony, it's time to talk our Irish football. That's why we're here, of course. And so let's jump right in. Vanderbilt comes in pretty, lack of a better term, cocky. They had some swag, and they were wanting to knock off number 8 rated Irish. And they had their chances, really, to be honest. They had their chances to do so.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It looked like Notre Dame was trying to find a way to lose that game in the second half. Scared me to death. But I tell you what, I felt like we depended on Brandon Wimbush a little too much as far as the run game was concerned. He threw for 13 for 23 for 122 yards, which isn't going to get it at the Division I level that Notre Dame plays at. He's going to have to pass for more yards. But what it all came down to was we won the turnover battle. We didn't turn the ball over. They turned the ball over 3 times, and that's how we won the game.
Yeah, and good teams will do that. They'll take advantage of those turnovers. And to kind of talk about Brandon Wimbush a little bit here and give my opinion. So, like you said, he was 13 of 23 for 122 yards. Not stellar, not outstanding, not eye-opening for that matter.
No interception.
No interceptions. That's definitely a positive. He didn't throw for any touchdowns, but he didn't turn the ball over. So that's a very positive spot there.
For him, especially positive for him. Yep.
Yes, definitely. And to go along with that, he also rushed 19 times for 95 yards, which is almost 4.5 yard average, which is excellent. But I do agree with you in the second half. They turned to him so much to make plays, whether it was scrambling or whether it was a called run pre-snap. So they need to get away from that, in my opinion, to give those guys other guys
I think our leading rusher that day, outside of Brandon, Tony Jones, the tailback.
Yeah.
He rushed 17 times for 118 yards, which is a pretty good yards per carry average. I think it's 5 yards a carry or something like that. But I thought we had Brandon Wimbush carry the ball way too much. And if we want to keep him healthy, we need to get away from that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. And those other guys had plenty of opportunities as far as the rushing game goes. I just felt that maybe he was I don't know, maybe he was pressing too much and he was trying to feel that he had to do it all on his own. And that could have been the play calling. That could have been him and himself in his own head doing that. But 19 rushes for the quarterback leading the team probably isn't the ideal situation for any quarterback or any program for that matter.
No, not if you want to keep him healthy. And we need for him to be healthy as we go down the stretch, and we've got some big games coming up. Got Stanford in a couple games. We're going to need the experience of a Brandon Wimbush to get that thing done. I don't want to look past Wake Forest, who's our next game, and it's an away game, our first one of the season. So that's going to be a big game. But we need Brandon Wimbush healthy as we're going down the stretch, and depending on him or counting on him to run the football the way he had to in this past game, we're taking a big chance on getting the guy hurt.
Well, with that in the passing game, he did, along with, I know Ian Book came in for a couple plays. He was 3 for 3, but passing wise, but they hit 8 different receivers, which is outstanding. So that definitely helps with distributing the ball, and we've said that I don't know how many times, Tony, but we need to continue to get those guys more involved. I know that's overstating the obvious here, but I just think that, getting the ball out of his hands into playmakers' hands besides himself will make this offense just exceed expectations. And
Oh yeah. I mean, with the tight ends, I think we ought to get those guys involved a little bit more. When you've got a tight end, when you're hitting that tight end on a quick crossing pattern where it gets the ball out of Brandon Wimbush's hands real quick, not only does he complete that pass and it keeps the ball moving, but it gives Brandon confidence. It gives him confidence to go deeper down the field and make good throws. That's why I want to see the tight ends get more involved. I really do.
Yeah, and to go on the opposite side of the ball, and I know I'm kind of moving here a little quickly, but
that's fine. Yeah.
The defense here, 17 points for the whole game, and really it could have been worse because there was a play, Alohi Gilman, right at the 1 yard line. I forget who was making the tackle, but he comes in, strips that ball. The ball flies up probably about 10, 15 feet in the air. Guys are waiting to get it, jumping to get it, and they finally, obviously take that ball. But it's just the defense is playing at a really, really good level right now, and they're playing so much as a team. I mean, Drew Tranquill led with tackles this week, and he had 9 total, 9 solo, by the way, which is outstanding. And, with Alohi Gilman being in the top 3 again with a fumble force. And then Troy Pride Jr. had an interception and 3 pass breakups. So this defense overall is just playing lights out, in my opinion, according to their situation.
Right now. They're the reason we're 3-0 right now, that defense, and that we're ranked number 8 in the country because offensively we're not playing number 8 in the country, number 8 ranked in the country. We're not playing that type of offense right now, but we're playing that type of defense. And as they say, defense wins championships. And for our defense to come out of the gate and be impressive in each and every game that they've played this year is a good sign. We're going down the stretch, and we can just stay healthy. We can just stay healthy and keep playing the type of football that we have been playing and just keep improving the way they should improve on the defensive side of the ball. Man, we're going to be tough to beat. As I said, defense wins championships. When we get up, start going up against some of the tougher opponents in the country, the Alabamas, the USCs, and man, if you got a defense that's out there really holding their own, we can be in any ball game. We can win any ball game.
Yeah, and to go along with those tough opponents, you have one coming up here in 2 weeks with Stanford, but we jump to the Wake Forest game because this is one of those games where the coin phrase is trap game, where they travel or they play an opponent that they should probably beat, but they're looking ahead, or they come in lackadaisical, or they're just a bad week of practice, or whatever seems to be the distraction that comes up. And, being 8th ranked in the nation, Wake Forest is gunning for them, just like Vanderbilt did, just like those other teams did. They have to be ready offensively. Defense, I don't see that defense being a step behind or fall back a step in accordance to their play. I'm really, really worried about that offense.
Well, Wake Forest is 2-1 right now. They're 2-1. It's the first away game for Notre Dame, which is always interesting. We're used to playing at home and having that home team support. It'll be interesting to see for the first time how Notre Dame plays away from home. That'll be very interesting. And with Wake Forest being 2-1, they're playing at home. Notre Dame having that big number 8 target on their back. Wake Forest is going to want to try to make their season by beating Notre Dame. And, I was looking at some stats for the quarterbacks for these two teams on the year. Brandon Wimbush, basically up to this point, he's 42 of 76 for 589 yards, one touchdown and 4 interceptions, okay? And you've got Hartman on the other side of the football for Wake Forest. He's 68 for 123, 834 yards, 6 touchdowns. He has 5 interceptions, so he'll put the ball up. But 834 yards at week 4 is pretty doggone good for a quarterback. He's been pretty successful throwing the football. So our defense, Notre Dame's defense, is going to have to be ready.
Definitely, and with that Wake Forest game, it's a noon start, so that's going to be an earlier game time than what they've played so far. They've played at 2:30, 3:30, and then the night game, of course. And so a lot of things are going into play here. They're going to have to travel, their first away game. It's at noon, and an opponent that's obviously going to go and try to beat the number 8 ranked team in the nation. And I just think that the preparation is important. Tony, you've probably had this possibly come up in your playing career, and a game where you should win, and yet everyone kind of just like, yeah, we're going to win, but we're not really going to be focused on it. Have you ever had that happen to you?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a subconscious thing. You think you're ready, but you're really not, and you don't realize that until that ball snapped, and you're not really emotionally tied into the game the way you should be. So it's hard to tell. But, it's always interesting to me to see how teams play away from home, especially that first game. But there are some teams that are more relaxed away from home and just go out and play football, have fun and play football. They're more relaxed. It'll be interesting to see if this Notre Dame team is that way, because I think our defense is going to show up whether they're home or away. But I'm going to be paying particularly close attention to that offense, Brandon Wimbush, and I'm going to see if he's going to be more relaxed, being away from home, and just get out there and let it fly and let the chips fall where they may. And play some good football this weekend. It's time. It's time.
It is definitely time. And to go along with that, what would you say would be some of the keys that they, as a team or an offense or whatever you want to say, what are a couple keys that need to happen this weekend for them to get that win?
I think Tony Jones basically up to this point at tailback, he's got 39 carries, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. We won't get Dexter Williams back until the following week against Stanford. So I think you keep feeding Tony Jones and let him keep getting that confidence up. And like I said, 5 yards a carry, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And it says a lot about the adjustments that the offensive line, we lost 2 first-round picks out of that offensive line from last year. Top 10 first-round picks, and that's going to devastate any offensive line. But he's got a tailback right now, Tony Jones, who hasn't played a whole lot before this year, but he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. So that offensive line is getting the job done, and I'm looking forward to Dexter Williams coming back. I think they can cause some serious problems for defenses with those two taking turns running the football. But yeah, I think we need to run it. We need to let the tailbacks run it. We need to let the tailbacks run it. I think it was a good idea last week to try to get Brandon Wimbush on track by throwing the football. But I think the game plan needs to change a little bit. Short, quick passes. Get those tight ends involved. Hit the backs coming out of the backfield with the football. Let Brandon get that ball out of his hands and make some completions early on in that game so that he can get some confidence going. I love the guy. I think he's a competitor. I think he's a great athlete. But I just think he needs to get some confidence built up. And, I think that'll pay big dividends if you let that kid get his confidence built up.
Absolutely. And to go off of what you just mentioned, I think a couple of things have to happen this weekend. First, defensively, what's the phrase? Don't fix what's not broke.
Right.
I think that
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And their philosophy, the way that they are playing, their mindset, everything, they have played very, very good, sound, fundamentally together as a defense. And that shows from the coaching staff on down. So, keep what you're doing, defense. That's pretty much what I have here. Bend, don't break, those things. So offensively, I still think distributing the ball more. What I mean by that is, yes, they passed to 8 different players and completed them, but some of those are just 1 reception, 2 receptions. Let's get that more and more. Let's be more diverse, because when we play those great teams, like you mentioned earlier, Stanford, USC, etc., they're going to be locked in on certain people. And if you go back to the Miami game last year, where they went down there and just pretty much got trounced, they locked in on several key players that did not have a great game. And so they need to make sure that those guys are all being able to make positive influences on the football on the offensive side. So I would say definitely that. And if Wimbush struggles, don't be afraid to take him out and talk to him and put Book in. And I'm not saying that because of me wanting Book in so much, but I'm wanting Wimbush to continue.
Oh, we may need Book down the road. We may need him down the road. It may be a good idea to let him get some playing time if Wimbush is struggling. No question.
Yeah, and I think later down the road that he's probably the answer, but maybe not right now. I don't know that answer. I'm not at practice every day, but I just feel that if he struggles, a couple series, 3, 4, 5 series in a row, you got to change something up. You got to make something different to keep that offense going. And
that's a tough decision that Coach Kelly's going to have to make. But I've never been a fan of the rotating quarterback situation because, as a player, your quarterback is your leader. Your quarterback is your leader. He's the guy that you look up to. You look to have confidence going into a game, going into the huddle. And if you got rotating quarterbacks, and you know, it just takes away from a guy's leadership ability. A guy can't really lead the troops if he's you know, alternating in and out with another guy. Yeah, you know, so I don't like that part of it. I don't like rotating quarterbacks, but
sure.
I do think if Brandon is struggling, I think Book can get the job done. I think the offenses will be totally different. I think we'll be more of a passing type offense down the field with Book in there. But I think he can be successful. But for right now, I'm hoping Brandon can come out, get some confidence going, get a couple nice short passes, get his confidence going. So far, I think the Michigan game, I was most impressed with Brandon Wimbush in that Michigan game because he looked really confident. He looked really assured of himself, what he was seeing on defense, where he needed to go with the football down the field. And, you know, I think he's taken a couple steps backwards in that regard the last two games. So I'd like to see him step it up this game against Wake Forest.
Yeah, and it's kind of a sidetrack here, but speaking of stepping up, our Facebook page, Tony, Irish Football Weekly, it is growing every day. I just want to thank the listeners real quick for stepping up and responding to questions during the game, after the game, throughout the week. So I appreciate you. We appreciate you for being a part of that, fans. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of that. You can also follow myself on Twitter at Coach JB4, but you can also go to our Facebook page, Irish Football Weekly. You can search that and like and follow that, and a lot of good conversations going on there with the fans, so keep that up.
Absolutely, John. Not a more passionate fan base in all of college football. I've always said it. Notre Dame has the best fans in college, most loyal fans in college football. Absolutely, most loyal fans in college football, and I mean, it's you just kind of have to experience it as a player to really appreciate the type of fans that you have when you play for Notre Dame.
Well said there, definitely well said. So just wanted to throw that out there. But moving on to our next segment, 3 toughest picks of the week, Tony. There's not 3 really big games, but there's 2, and then there's a third one that I think we could talk about. So let's jump in here. Let's talk about the records because that's what we always do, and I kind of try to scratch it out on my list to do when we talk about this because of how bad my record is, but we're going to talk about it. So, so Tony, you are 6-3 this year, and I am the total opposite. I'm 3-6.
As crazy as it's been, I know I dropped some this past weekend that I thought for sure I made the right pick for him, but Auburn was one.
Yep, definitely, and that was a really good game, by the way. But I talked to a teammate of mine, Byron Franklin. He was wide receiver with me when I played for the Bills, Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. And Byron, he's from Auburn. We're friends on Facebook, and he was at that game. And I said, man, you know, you guys made me lose my prediction. I predicted you guys would win on our podcast. And he said, yeah, we just can't get our offense going. They can't get the offense going. I said, man, we can't get out of the park on offense at Notre Dame. So I know the feeling. Yes, definitely. I agree with you there. And, yeah, so this week we got three good games, in my opinion. The first game is number 7 Stanford, who we play here in 2 weeks, at number 20 Oregon. So number 7 at number 20. Who you got?
Wow, that's a tough one. I played against Oregon one time when I was at Notre Dame. Was that? Yeah, it was Oregon State. I think it was. But man, oh man, that was tough playing out there at that high elevation. And it's tough playing when you go up into that high elevation. So, but Stanford's coming in from California. I am going to pick Oregon because we play Stanford in 2 weeks. So
All right,
I don't
fair
like
enough.
them already. I don't like Stanford already. So I'm gonna go with Oregon at home because I think it's tough to play there.
All right, I agree. Oregon's a tough place to play, and going in there in that environment is pretty tough. However, I do think Stanford is going to win, even though we do play them in 2 weeks. But I'd rather them win now than win later. So I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick them. It's gonna be a bigger game even. So because the Irish are gonna win this week, but I picked Stanford for that one. So the second one here is number 22 Texas A&M at number 1 Alabama. That's gonna be hopefully a good game. Hopefully.
Yeah, you can't pick it. You can't go against Alabama at home. I'm not. I can't go against Alabama at home. I'm going to take Alabama against anybody.
Yeah, I agree. After last week's performance, I watched that game as well. It just looked like men among boys out there, and so definitely Bama's going to win that game. I don't know by how much. Texas A&M did play Clemson really tight, and then a really controversial call at the end of their matchup a couple weeks ago. They lost by 2 to Clemson, but I think I think Bama.
Because Clemson is on the same plane as Alabama is as far as big, strong, athletic guys. Clemson is loaded, so that's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely was, and like I said, there was a controversial call at the very end who could have went either way, but I digress from that. I think Bama's going to win. Let's move on to the last one here. It's kind of a somewhat local game. Number 24, Michigan State travels to Indiana. Now, before we start laughing, IU has been playing some pretty decent ball, and I watched their game as well.
They're right now, right?
Yes, they are. So, what's your thoughts? Who do you got on that game?
Who are they playing again?
They're playing at home against number 24 Michigan State.
Big Ten game, Michigan State. Michigan State doesn't play well back during my time. Michigan State doesn't play well away. But when you go up there, you go up there to play Michigan State, you better buckle your chin strap. Both of them, especially if you're Notre Dame, because they have no love lost for Notre Dame when Notre Dame goes into East Lansing. Man, some of the most physical games I played in was up at Michigan in college ball. Some of the most physical games that I ever played in college football was when we went to Michigan State. And because, man, they come out ready to play. That's back when Carl Banks and they had some really good defenses back then. So, but away from home, Michigan State's not quite the same team. And I think IU, they're riding the wave of being undefeated right now, and they kind of like that recognition there at home. I'm going to go with IU.
All right. He's going to pick the somewhat upset here because they're not ranked, and they're playing well, though. And they actually have some local guys playing for them, IU does. Peyton Ramsey, quarterback from Elder, I believe.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. He played really well against Ball State this past weekend, which they manhandled Ball State. And
I was going to mention that. That surprised me because Ball State gave us so much trouble.
Absolutely, yeah. They played really well, to say the least. They did.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, our favorite time, Irish prediction time, Tony. Who you got this week? Which I think I already know who you got. I just need to know the score and some information.
Man, I'm waiting for Notre Dame to really get this offense side, get the offensive side of the football going. I'm going to say we're going to score 28 points.
Okay.
We're going to score 28 points, and I think that offense for Wake Forest is going to be a handful because this quarterback is throwing the football around pretty good right now. I'm going to say 28-21. Notre Dame pulls it out.
All right, 28-21 for Tony. I'm somewhat similar. I'm having the Irish win by 10 here, and it's very similar, 24-14 win. By the way, I think the defense continues to take care of business and not give up very many points and not break but bend there on the defensive side. And I think the Irish continue just to get the points they need to win. And I think hopefully that some positives come out of this game. One, for them to win, and two, some things come out with that offense there. So hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Hopefully we score about 42 points instead of 24, and it's a 42-14 win. But I think that realistically right now, just from what I've seen, the eyeball test, that it's going to be around that score. So
yeah, I hope we continue to get better running the football. With Dexter Williams coming back that next week against Stanford, man, I think that's going to be a good 1-2 punch with he and Tony Jones. So let's see. I just hope the offense kind of cranks it up a little bit this weekend.
Yes, definitely, and hopefully you come out 4-0 and going up against that Stanford team that's going to be playing well as well. So we can
coming off a big game. Stanford will be coming off a big physical game, a Pac-10 game or Pac-12, and that'll be a physical game. So it's going to be an emotional test for them to get up against Notre Dame. So really, actually, it's a great chance for Notre Dame to go down and beat Wake Forest and catch Stanford coming off a big game. I used to hate when we played back-to-back top 10 or top 20 teams.
Oh, yeah.
During Coach Faust's tenure at Notre Dame. When I played 2 years under Coach Devine and 2 years under Coach Faust. Boy, some of the schedules we had under Coach Faust, we played back-to-back top 10 or top 20 teams, whereas our opponents, when they play against us, the week before we play them, they may play a team that's not even in the top 50. So it's tough when you play those back-to-back, top-tier guys in college football. So that's going to be tough for Stanford. But it's a great opportunity for Notre Dame to win 2 straight and really be sitting pretty as we move in, toward the mid-season or the middle part of the college football season.
Yeah, and all that starts on this Saturday at noon down at Wake Forest. It's on ABC this week, so they got a noon start time, and hopefully that team comes out to play and gets that win like we mentioned there in Irish prediction time. So, well, I think that's all, Tony.
All right, buddy.
I think we did an awesome job, just being biased here, but I think we did awesome. So, more so you than me, though. More so you than me. But that wraps up our show for this week, Irish Football Weekly. Don't forget to check out our website, thegruelingtruth.net, which has multiple shows besides ours, all involving sports, including my own show, The Real Deal. You can listen to any of those shows anytime you like. Just go to our website, thegruelingtruth.net. But you can also find us on other media such as Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. If you have an Apple iPhone, you can definitely get our app, Grueling Truth Sports Network, and download and subscribe there as too. So tons of places to find us ramble on here. But for my co-host, Tony Hunter, this is Josh Benjamin signing off for Irish Football Weekly. Go Irish! Peace.
Go Irish!